Stranger Things has borrowed concepts from iconic films in the past, and this time it looks like the showrunners will pluck a page from another classic, Lord of the Rings. We will be talking about the epic comparison, but before we begin, hit that subscribe button and turn on the notification. The Stranger Things writers used the unplanned hiatus to finish writing this season. 8 episodes, and all scripts were completed by mid-June. As to what is in them, here is what the Duffer Brothers teased about the new season. Although it's not all good news for our American Hopper, he is imprisoned far from home in the snowy wasteland of Kamchatka, where he will face dangers both human and others. Meanwhile, back in the States, a new horror is beginning to surface, something long buried, something that connects everything. Season 4 is shaping up to be the biggest and most frightening season yet, and we cannot wait for everyone to see more. In the meantime, pray for the American. The last fans saw of David Harbour's fan-favorite character, he was sacrificing himself to close the gate between the Upside Down and Hawkins. Then came the Stranger Things 4 teaser trailer, which revealed Hopper had somehow survived and was now a prisoner in Russia. The trailer opened in Kamchatka, Russia, and shows soldiers working outside as snow falls around them. One of the workers on the railway is revealed to be Hopper, whose hair has been shaved off. When Stranger Things finally returns to Netflix with its highly anticipated 4th season, the show will have to answer its biggest question yet. How did Hopper survive the Stranger Things 3 finale? The episode cut to black for a full 6 seconds after Joyce turned the keys, leaving plenty of room for interpretation about what happened in between the time she closed her eyes and when the machine actually exploded. One of the answers to the question of how Hopper survived is that he jumped through the gate before the explosion, and the Russians found him in the Upside Down. It would make sense that, since they were tracking him, reports would have been sent back to their headquarters. The truth is, it was never a question of whether Jim Hopper, who appeared to die in Stranger Things Season 3 finale, would return in Season 4. It was how he would return. But what does that return look like? Well, Hopper spoke about the new episodes, revealing that show creators Matt and Ross Duffer have known about this plotline since the beginning and always were interested in that idea of the Gandalf Resurrection. In the interview, David Harbour said, "I've had those discussions with the Duffer Brothers from the very first season. We were always interested in that idea of the Gandalf Resurrection. Gandalf the Grey, who fights the Balrog and then becomes Gandalf the White, is the idea of the resurrection of the character. And mythological Hopper, in a sense, had to change. I mean, he couldn't go on the way he was going on. He has to resurrect in some way, so it was a great opportunity to do that. So we'll see a very different guy going forwards. The same guy, but in a different vein. It's a very cool thing to be able to play." Actors can often be left wondering about the fate of their character or what the next plot twist will be, just like those of us watching at home. That's not the case for Harbour and perhaps a few other members of the Stranger Things cast. While the show never confirmed Hopper's return during the time between the Stranger Things 3 finale and the Stranger Things 4 teaser, Harbour added that he knew the entire time he would be back for a 4th season in a role that made him the Stranger Things version of Gandalf the White. He just had to pretend he didn't know to create a little bit of suspense for fans of the hit Netflix original series. In the interview, David explained, "I knew, we had talked about it. I just wanted to preserve the fantasy for everyone. And it's such a weird position that we're in now with so much media that everybody wants to talk to you about it." For those who have no idea what David Harbour is talking about, Gandalf is a protagonist in J.R.R. Tolkien's novels The Hobbit and The Lord of the Rings. He's a wizard, one of the Istari Order, and the leader and mentor of the Fellowship of the Ring. Tolkien took the name Gandalf from the Old Norse catalog of dwarves. Gandalf has great power but works mostly by encouraging and persuading. He sets out as Gandalf the Grey, possessing great knowledge and traveling continually, always focusing on the mission to counter the Dark Lord Sauron. He is associated with fire, his ring being Nyra, the Ring of Fire, and he both delights in fireworks to entertain the hobbits of the Shire and, in great need, uses fire as a weapon. As one of the Maiar, he is an immortal spirit, but being in a physical body on Middle-earth, he can be killed in battle, as he is by the Balrog from Moria. He is sent back to Middle-earth to complete his mission, now as Gandalf the White and leader of the Istari. The final fight between Hopper and the Big Russian will probably feel a lot like the scene where Gandalf is fighting the Balrog. There's a lot that Gandalf went through after he died, but Hopper's journey should be much more straightforward. Obviously, Hopper isn't going to come back as a super powerful wizard, but you get the idea. So yes, David Harbour has been lying to us all along, but he recently revealed how he felt about lying to Stranger Things fans. In an interview with Netflix, Stranger Things co-creators asked Harbour how much he hated having to hide Hopper's fate from the public. He said, "On a scale of 1 to 10, I'd give it an 11. It was awful. I'd go on talk shows and they'd be like, 'So, you're dead?' I'd be like, 'I guess so.' I just had to lie to people. I feel like everybody kind of knew that he wasn't dead because you didn't see the body, and in sci-fi, if you don't see the body..." Not only was there no body left behind, but the entire way the scene was staged left open the clear possibility that Hopper had escaped before the Russians' machine exploded. An interesting revelation that could come as a result of the explosion is who the American really is. It could be possible that Hopper is the American from the post-credits scene, as the final part of the episode is set 3 months after the Battle of Starcourt. However, making him the American would be a very predictable move from the writers of Stranger Things, and that hasn't been their style so far. Revealing so soon that Hopper is alive could be a way to mislead the audience into thinking that the mystery of the identity of the American prisoner has been solved, only to surprise us later. If you ask us, the American in the cell could be none other than Dr. Brenner. Harbour also spoke about Stranger Things while discussing his next movie, Black Widow, in which he plays Russia's answer to Captain America. The actor talked about playing an American in Russia versus playing a Russian in Russia. He said one of the things was to be a Russian as opposed to being an American in a Russian prison, which is a very different experience. I think that Hopper is very much the American, as they talk about it at the end of season 3. And that way, the American mentality of the 80s cowboy American that Hopper is in Russia, it's a very different dynamic than a Russian dissident or a former Russian KGB or whatever being ostracized. Stranger Things 4 will also include a huge backstory reveal for Hopper. Remember in a Stranger Things 2 episode, when Eleven finds boxes in Hopper's attic labeled Dad, Vietnam, and New York? These parts of the character's backstory will come to the forefront in the new season, and yes, he knew all about it all along. In a previous interview, he said, "It's one of the things that I've known since the first frame of the first shot, and we haven't expressed it yet. And finally, we're gonna express it in a big way. It's my favorite thing about him that you guys don't know about him yet, but it has to do with these backstories of New York, Vietnam, and Dad." And I'm really excited for you guys to know more about that, and it relates, of course, to things he's doing with Eleven and Joyce and things like that. Clearly, Season 4 will be mostly about Hopper, but of course, Eleven will also play a major role. When the season began, Eleven was getting into fights with her adoptive father, Hopper. Then she broke up with Mike for a time. In the season's finale episodes, she was seriously wounded when facing off against the Mind Flayer, which caused her to lose her telekinetic powers. Millie Brown chatted with Glamour UK ahead of the release of her Netflix film Enola Holmes, where she plays the younger sister of Detective Sherlock Holmes, where she also shared some thoughts on Stranger Things and her hopes for Eleven. The actress revealed she ultimately just wants Eleven to be happy, but she hopes her character ends up with Mike forever. She said, "I trust the Duffer Brothers so much that it's going to be beautiful, and I'm going to love it no matter what. But I'd love her to get her powers back because she is a hero. She is like a superwoman in a way, and she loves Mike. I want them to get married. That's what I need. I need a wedding scene for the Stranger Things period." Well, we don't know how many seasons it will take for them to get married, but Millie Bobby Brown wants a wedding, period. However, what Millie Bobby Brown and Natalia Dyer don't appreciate is how co-stars are over-sexualized by the media. During an interview with The Independent, Dyer said, "There are so many layers going on here. I generally feel like, to me, it's over-sexualizing them. I feel protective over the younger kids, even though they're not kids anymore, they're teens." Dyer, who plays the role of Nancy Wheeler, one of the only older central characters of the show, said that she believes the over-sexualizing of young actors is a very tricky and complex problem that is ultimately rooted in a wider cultural issue. Millie Bobby Brown has been at the forefront of the discussion around the inappropriate sexualization of the show's young cast. In 2017, W Magazine named the actress as one of the hottest actors on TV when she was just 13, among a list of many older actors, which included Claire Foy, Nicole Kidman, and Kerry Russell. In an Instagram post leading up to her 16th birthday, Brown condemned the continued sexualization she has experienced from the media during her formative years as a young actor. In the post, she said she has felt pain and insecurity as a young girl in the public eye. The good news is that Stranger Things is reportedly aiming to resume production on its upcoming 4th season very soon. According to a new report from Deadline, series creators Matt and Ross Duffer are looking to resume production on Stranger Things Season 4 on the 28th of September. The date has not been confirmed by Netflix, and the filming restart is subject to change given the uncertain nature of shooting amid the ongoing pandemic. However, given the ages of many of the young core members of the cast, Netflix is likely looking to keep the COVID-19 shooting postponement as short as possible to make sure the stars' ages and those of their characters match up believably. Last we checked, Gaten Matarazzo had already broken his voice in the middle of filming Season 3 and couldn't redo some of his parts. Anyway, what do you think about Jim Hopper making a Gandalf Resurrection? Share your thoughts in the comments section below. This has been Riveted.